Welcome to the International Desk. I'm Lynda Kinkade. Here are the headlines we're following. The UN Security Council is set to meet today to discuss North Korea's ballistic missile launch on Sunday. Pyongyang says it was a new intermediate-range missile. Analysts say it's easier to launch than previous versions. North Korea's main ally, China, has criticized the test but said it will not intervene. The Kremlin denies it discussed sanctions against Russia with White House officials. A US official tells CNN that National Security Advisor Michael Flynn did in fact have those conversations before Mr. Trump took office. An administration source says the White House is not happy about it. An offshoot of the Pakistani Taliban and a group known as the Avengers of Waziristan have claimed responsibility for a deadly bombing in the eastern city of Lahore. A government spokesman says the blast went off at a protest, killing at least 14 people and wounding 59. Pakistan's Prime Minister calls the attack cowardly and vows that the nation will stand against terrorism. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is at the White House this hour, meeting with President Donald Trump, and trade is expected to dominate the talks as Mr. Trump had promised to renegotiate or scrap the NAFTA trade deal. The leaders also could cover immigration, another area where they have vastly different views. Well, CNN's Paula Newton covers Canada for us and joins us now from New York. Good to have you with us, Paula. Trudeau and Trump really do seem like polar opposites in so many regards. How do you think they'll get on?
I actually think they'll get on quite well. They're both very practical, transactional politicians. Pierre Trudeau, who came before his son, he was a Prime Minister of Canada, had this saying, Lynda, that, you know, it was like sleeping with a giant, sleeping like an elephant. And so Canada will be very careful and has been. They've done weeks of outreach to the Trump administration officials to make sure that things go smoothly. It's important that things go smoothly. This is the largest trading relationship in the world. It's balanced, more balanced than, let's say, the U.S. relationship with China or Mexico, and for that reason, Canada has kind of stayed out of the line of fire. What's really going to happen here, though, is that you're going to have countries, especially in Europe today, watching the rapport between President Trump and Justin Trudeau to see, A, that they do get along, and B, that beyond getting along, that what have been the underpinnings of a very successful economic relationship stay in place.
And talking about that economic relationship, as you mentioned, the two countries are big trading partners. Is there a lot of concern amongst Canadians about Trump's protectionist policies?
Of course they are, and I've described them as an existential threat. I mean, 75% of everything Canada makes or thereabouts is sold into the United States. This is a relationship that Canada cannot do without. What has Canada done? They've made sure that the United States knows that, look, this is also a relationship that the United States cannot do without. And they've been at great pains to point out that, look, there are 35 states that count Canada as their largest trading partner. They've tried to make a lot of alliances for years and months, really, with those local politicians, and you can bet, Lynda, that whether it's a congressperson or a senator, they will be in the ear of the administration as well, saying, look, this is an important trading relationship. You know, we have our irritants. Let's open it up. Perhaps let's take another look at some of those things, some of the things that annoy us about the way trade is done with Canada, but we can't just blow up the entire deal.
And of course, talking about the NAFTA deal, just tell us a little bit more about the sort of leverage that Canada has when it comes to renegotiating that trade deal.
Well, I think in the first instance, one has to be clear, not much. I mean, Canada is much more dependent on the relationship than the United States. Having said that, there are some things that, look, this is a trade deal that's fairly old now. Whether you're dealing with a new e-commerce economy, perhaps that is a thing that they can go into. And there are a million, trade irritants. Lynda, I'm going to tell you two that I will not bore you with, but it's softwood lumber and dairy and poultry, and these are big issues. You put them on the table again. Perhaps Canada could eke out some concessions of things that they wanted to look at again. The United States might be able to listen to some of those governors who say, look, Canada doesn't play fair. Having said that, the idea here is not to, again, rip open the entire agreement. The point is, let's acknowledge, from Canada's point, they want to acknowledge this is a good deal. Yes, there improvements can be made. And for that reason, you know, Prime Minister Trudeau came out right away and said, yeah, we're open to this. Let's have a look at the deal again.
All right, Paula Newton staying across it all for us from New York. Thanks so much. And Paula has written extensively about the politics surrounding this meeting. And for the full analysis, you can head to our website at cnn.com.